welcome to Lesbian Love. This is your girl V, and today my special guest is Undy, which is short for Undisputed. How are you?
I'm doing great. I'm glad to be here on Lesbian Love.
Yeah, we're glad to have you. So, Undy, I always ask people when I say the word love, what's the first thing that comes to mind?
So the first thing that comes to mind is three words. Okay, it's attention,
Mhm.
affection, and appreciation. And I feel like in any relationship, you should strive to all in relationships with anybody. You should strive to always have a balance in those areas. Make sure you're giving in those areas.
I love it. I love it. How do you identify, what label would you use to describe yourself within the community?
I would just label myself as a masculine identifying lesbian.
Tell me about your coming out journey,
Hmm.
you getting to be the confident woman that you are today. When did that start? When did you start exploring your sexuality and coming out?
Yeah, so I would say definitely around 12, 13. I was just staring at girls. Like, I didn't really understand why. I just remember being in class, like, I couldn't keep my eyes off this one particular girl. And I wasn't paying any attention in class. But I felt uncomfortable, with what I was feeling because coming from a very religious household, I knew I had an understanding that that was wrong to feel like that. So I tried to like psych myself out of feeling those things. So when I would start staring at a girl, I would start calling myself stupid, or I would try to just hit myself, like just to kind of try psych myself out of doing it. And it actually got to a point where, and this was actually the day after Ellen came out on her show, which was a
Oh,
huge deal back in the '90s, because that was like really the first time there was a openly gay character on on TV.
mhm.
So I remember the day after she came out on her show, and I was sitting on the school bus going to school, and I was just thinking about like how cool is it she was able to like to be herself. And I just thought to myself, like, if I wasn't attracted to girls, if I wasn't a lesbian, why would I feel like, why would I have to do all of this, like, hit myself and tell myself I'm stupid if every time I think about a girl, or stare at a girl. Like, I feel like if it wasn't a natural thing for who I am, I wouldn't have to do all of that. So I just pretty much told myself, yeah, I'm gay. And I remember telling myself on the bus, and I just remember smiling. I remember the light peeking through the window on the bus and just feeling like just really a light and free, to just within myself. Of course, I hadn't told anybody, but that
Mhm.
struggle, within myself, I let go.
Mhm.
Right, that struggle, that self-rejection process I had put into place to deal with those emotions, I let that go, and I felt light. I felt, free, um, within myself, because that was a burden.
Mhm.
Carrying that day to day was a burden. So that's coming out to myself. I know a lot of people don't really talk about that, but I think that that's a very important process.
Well, I love that you started talking about the journey of coming out to yourself first and that self-love. Because a lot of times we worry about everybody else in the world and the focus is, how am I going to come out if they're going to accept me? But the process really starts within first and you coming out to yourself and loving yourself first. So we definitely want to talk about that self-love and that self-acceptance first.
Oh yeah, that's super important, because one of the things is when I was rejecting myself, rejecting my true identity, I didn't want to connect with people. I didn't want to, I didn't have a lot of friends because I was afraid, oh, if I get too close, to them, are they gonna start asking me questions about it? What am I gonna say?
Now, what change did you notice after you came out to yourself and then you outwardly came out to your friends and family? What did that do for like your self-esteem, your confidence, your personality? because you mentioned you didn't really have a lot of friends before, but during that process and that evolution, what changes occurred?
Yeah, so I would definitely say it was, like I said, I felt more confident in who I was. As far as um, my family, I my coming out to my family was a big challenge for me, just because I came from a very religious household where, we just, where gay people and gay lifestyle was a topic of discussion pretty much on a daily basis, for just randomly, for no reason, to be honest. I think my father had such a issue with gay people, and he actually had a brother who was gay. He used to just call randomly and just really say mean things. And so we'd be at the kitchen table, and he would just start talking about, how gay people are going to hell and stuff, just randomly, eating Dr. Chicken, tuna
Mhm.
casserole and stuff. And I'm like, where did that come from? So it was a very common conversation in our household. So definitely, c- that was one of my biggest fears. So many LGBT at that point, do end up on the street,
Mhm.
and I've worked with so many LGBT youth that were valedictorians and people that, could, had full rides to colleges and things like that. But at the point they came out to their parents, all of that went down the drain because they no longer had the support. They don't, no longer had what they needed to continue to be successful in those areas. So
People have these assumptions of what they think a lesbian is. When they see masculine dressing or masculine of center women, I think most people have an assumption that that woman wants to be a man.
mhm.
What are your thoughts on that?
Well, my thoughts are that one, some do. Okay. Some do, because you have a spectrum, right? There's some that love being female, and are a little bit feminine. And then you have people that are like, wanting to be, a man. And they feel like, they were born in the wrong body. I would definitely say, and when people, to assume that every masculine, presenting lesbian wants to be a man is definitely a false assumption. All Most of the women that I know, that are masculine, do not want to be a man. They actually love being women, and I feel like part of what it is that there's not, that whole. I think the people really look at things like black and white. Either and they don't really allow room for that, because even within the LGBT, within the lesbian community, a lot of times for masculine center women, they are expected to be a certain way,
Mhm.
a certain type of masculine, and do certain things. And I feel like, with really with masculinity, is different in everybody, and you can't assume that somebody wants to be a man. I don't want to be a man. I love being a woman. Okay. For me in particular, and going back to the whole self-rejection thing, I feel like I feel like I came out of my mom's womb with this body, and this is who I am. Like, this is this is the only, this is my vessel for this life, And for me, I would never reject that, because that to me would be like self-rejection. Very offensive to me when somebody says, "Oh, you want to be a man." Um, First of all, I don't. I've never been a man, to be able to say that that's what I'm supposed to be. I've never been. So all I know is being a masculine woman in a woman's body. And that's what I love about who I am. You know.
Well, I like that you mentioned that it's a spectrum because people want to group everybody together, and you have different people. You have some people that are more masculine than others, but people will group them all together.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they will, because people only look on the surface of things, you know. And to be honest, it's a lot of women out there that dress masculine that are feminine women in their mind, in their, you know, in their mind, in their spirit, they're feminine women. But they just like to dress masculine.
I like being able to see that fluidity. So I think you probably also have that with your fraternity. You have a group of masculine presenting women, but they're all different. Tell us about your fraternity and why you guys basically created a fraternity for masculine presenting women.
Yeah, for sure. So, I'm the honorary founder of Alpha Lambda Zeta Fraternity, Incorporated. We've been around since 2006, and we came about, you know, really because there was a lot of just we felt like there weren't enough positive images of masculine um, identifying lesbians. Back then, we called them aggressives or dominant tomboys. You can call them studs. And we wanted to, you know, there really needed to be a space, a place where women who were wanted to do service and to really be feel 100% who they are, in, you know, in doing that and creating bonds with people who also have those unique connections. Being in the fraternity like Alpha Lambda Zeta took my confidence from 0 to 100, and this is why. Okay, because for most of my life, definitely before, you know, for most of my life, when I go to work, when I go to the store, anywhere really, I'm the only one that looks like me.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, and because of that, there's certain things that, you know, at some point I didn't really feel comfortable, you know, doing. You know, and when I you know, became involved with the fraternity, and I had this group of women, okay, that do you know, are unique like me, that I felt like at that point I wasn't the only one.
Good.
Okay, I wasn't the only one. I wasn't the only one dealing with, you know, the issues of being, you know, in spaces where people are looking at how I'm dressing, looking at, you know, what bathroom I'm going to go to, what am I doing in the bathroom, you know, looking at, um, you know, just how I dress, you know, how I present myself. You know, these are people that are like, how you are is amazing. We all the same and we all amazing. And this is the unique stuff about us. And we out here in the world, we're going to change it. Um, and for that, I remember, you know, when I first was coming into fraternity, I went to my boss and I asked for a raise and got it. You know what I mean? Like,
Uh-huh.
you know, because I'm like, why not me? You know
Uh-huh.
what I mean? Whereas before I was like, oh, I'm so different or whatever. I just need to take what I can get. Okay. so so it's just a different mindset, you know. And you know, I would definitely say with my fraternity, it's nationwide. We have people all over the spectrum. I mean, we got people that, you know, keep their nails done. They like it looking nice, you know, and all that, which is cool. And we got people that are more on the, you know, more on the masculine, you know, more on the more masculine spectrum, you know, that they would never do that, you know. So, and I think we try to be inclusive that way, because no matter where you are on the masculine spectrum, we all still have this unique connection. Okay,
Mhm.
we all still have a lot of unique and similar struggles and challenges and opportunities. You are not meant to fit in. You are meant to stand out.
Mm.
Okay, and don't just fit. Don't silence yourself because you're different. I think a lot of my frats have gone above and beyond to show that how amazing they are, to combat the whole negative stereotypes that are automatically put on us, you know?
Like I wish you as an individual success, and then I wish Alpha Lambda Zeta Incorporated continued success.
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you so much.
And I want to thank you for taking the time today to share your story and your perspective.
And thank you so much for having me here. I'm very humbled that you would even invite me to come talk about this, being a masculine, identifying lesbian and my fraternity. I hope that it's enlightening to some. I know it's just my perspective, but I feel like there's power when you tell your story and people.
Thank you for sharing your perspective on lesbian love. And as I always remind people, let's be love. Let's be the love that you want to see in this world.
So true. That's true. Let's be it.